One day, which was the first day of the first month, while Enoch was alone in his house, he lay down to rest and fell asleep. As he slept, he was overcome with a deep sadness. Tears fell from his eyes, though he didn't understand why or what was happening to him. Suddenly, two men appeared, unlike anyone he had ever seen. They were enormous, their faces shining like the sun, their eyes glowing, and fire coming from their mouths. Their clothes gleamed in rich purples. Their wings outshone gold, and their hands were as white as snow. They stood at the head of his bed and called out his name. Enoch woke and saw them clearly. He greeted them, but fear filled his heart, and his face changed with terror. But they spoke gently to him. "Be strong, Enoch. Do not be afraid. The eternal God has sent us to you. Today you will come with us into heaven. But before you leave, you must tell your sons and your household what they must do while you are gone. No one should try to find you until the Lord brings you back." At once Enoch obeyed. He left his house and went to the door, calling out to his sons Methuselah, Regem, and Gadad. He told them everything the men had said and shown him. When Enoch finished giving his instructions to his sons, the angels lifted him up with their wings and carried him into the sky. They set him gently upon the clouds. Looking around in awe, he saw the clear sky stretching even higher above him. Then the angels took him up again and placed him in the first heaven. There he was shown a vast and mighty sea, so enormous it made all the oceans on earth seem small in comparison. From there, the journey continued, deeper into the mysteries of heaven. The angels brought Enoch before the rulers and elders who oversee the stars. He saw 200 angels, each responsible for guiding the stars in their movements and service to the heavens. These heavenly beings had wings and flew with a purpose, traveling far and wide, even watching over those who sailed across the seas. Enoch looked down and saw the great storehouses where the snow is kept. Massive and mysterious, they were guarded by powerful and fearsome angels. He saw clouds that pour out the snow upon the earth, and he saw where the snow returns once its task is complete. The angels then showed Enoch where the dew is stored. It shimmered like olive oil, smooth, glowing, and pure. Its appearance reminded him of the flowers that bloom across the earth. Many angels stood guard over these places, carefully showing him how the storehouses are opened and closed. But Enoch would soon realize that not everything in this place was righteous and beautiful. When he reached the second heaven, he saw a darkness deeper than anything on earth. In that shadowy place, countless souls hung in chains, closely watched as they waited for God's final and eternal judgment. The angels who guarded them were darker than anything Enoch had ever seen, and they wept without rest, day and night. Troubled, Enoch turned to the angels who were with him and asked, "Why are these souls in such constant suffering?" They answered, "These are the ones who rebelled against God. They rejected his commands and chose to follow their own way, joining their prince, who is now bound in the fifth heaven." Hearing this, Enoch was filled with sorrow. The souls looked at him and cried out, "Man of God, please pray to the Lord for us." But he answered, "Who am I to pray for angels? I am just a mortal man. I don't even know where I'm going or what will happen to me, and who will pray for me?" Then the angels carried Enoch up to the third heaven and set him down there. As he looked below, he saw a land overflowing with breathtaking produce, far more beautiful and good than anything found on earth. He saw trees bursting with fragrant flowers and fruit, their scent filling the air. The fruits gave off a bubbling aroma, alive with sweetness. At the center of it all stood the tree of life, the place where the Lord himself rests when he visits paradise. The tree was beyond words in beauty and scent. It glowed like gold, burned red like vermilion, and shone like fire. Every kind of fruit grew on its branches, all in one tree. Its roots reached deep into the garden, planted at the very edge of the earth. Paradise, Enoch learned, lies between the world of the living and the world beyond. From its heart flowed two springs, one of honey and milk, and the other of oil and wine. These streams became 4 rivers that gently ran through the Garden of Eden, connecting the perishable with the eternal. After leaving paradise, the waters spread across the earth, flowing in cycles like the other elements of creation. Every tree in this garden was alive and fruitful. Not a single place was barren. Life and blessing filled it all. 300 radiant angels stood watch over the garden, singing without end. Their songs were full of beauty and praise to the Lord, rising up every hour of every day. Overwhelmed, Enoch said, "How sweet and wonderful this place is." And the angels turned to Enoch, replying, "This place, Enoch, has been prepared for the righteous. It is for those who endure harm with patience, who turn their eyes away from evil, and who judge others with fairness. It is for those who feed the hungry, clothe the naked, lift up the fallen, and care for orphans in their need. These are the ones who live blamelessly before the Lord and serve him alone. For them this place has been created as their eternal reward. But for the wicked there was no place of beauty and peace." The 2 angels led Enoch to the northern side, where they showed him a dreadful place filled with every kind of torment. Thick darkness covered everything. There was no light, only a dim and smoky fire rising up. A river of fire flowed through the land, and all around were flames, freezing cold, thirst, and shivering. The prisoners were bound in cruel chains, and terrifying angels stood guard with fierce weapons, carrying out harsh punishments without mercy. Seeing it all, Enoch cried out, "Oh no! How terrible this place is!" The angels answered him, saying, "This is the place for those who dishonor God. It is for those who commit unnatural sins, including those who corrupt children in vile ways, for those who practice magic, witchcraft, and evil rituals, for those who boast proudly of their wickedness, who steal, lie, slander, envy, hate, commit adultery or murder. It is for those who trap the souls of others, and for those who grow rich by stealing from the poor, who let the hungry starve even though they could have fed them, who left the naked to suffer though they had the means to clothe them. It is for those who refuse to know their Creator and instead bowed down to lifeless idols, man-made gods that can neither see nor hear. They carved images and worshipped their own creations, unclean and empty of life. For all these people, this is their eternal inheritance." Then the angels lifted Enoch up to the 4th heaven. There they showed him the paths of the sun and the moon, and how their light moves across the sky. He watched closely, measuring their movements and comparing their brightness, seeing that the sun shone more brilliantly than the moon. The sun moved in a great circle, riding on wheels with incredible speed, like the wind, never pausing day or night. 4 large stars traveled with it, 2 on each side. Each of these mighty stars commanded 1,000 smaller stars, making 8,000 in total that followed the sun on its journey. By day, 150,000 angels attended the sun, and by night 1,000 stayed with it. Ahead of the sun flew 6-winged beings who entered the flames, and 100 angels ignited the fire, setting the sun ablaze for its daily path across the heavens. But the creatures he saw next made the angels seem almost normal in comparison. Journeying with the path of the sun, these wondrous and mysterious beings were called phoenixes and chalkidri. Their feet and tails were like lions, their heads like crocodiles, and their skin shimmered like a rainbow. Each one was enormous, measuring 900 units in size. They had 12 wings each, like the angels, and they followed the sun wherever it went, carrying both heat and dew according to God's command. As Enoch then traveled to the heart of the heavens, he saw heavenly soldiers gathered in service to the Lord. They played drums and instruments, and their voices rose in song, never pausing. The music was sweet and beautiful, so wondrous that no human words could ever truly describe it. The sound stirred his soul and filled him with awe and joy as he listened to the songs of the angels. The angels then took Enoch up to the 5th heaven. There he saw an uncountable number of beings called the Grigori. They looked like humans, but they were enormous, larger than any giant he had ever imagined. Their faces were weary and full of sorrow, and they sat in complete silence. There was no singing, no worship, no activity of any kind. Troubled by what he saw, Enoch asked the angels with him, "Why do they look so worn down? Why are their faces filled with sadness? And why is there no worship here?" The angels answered, "These are the Grigori. Along with their prince Satanael, they turned away from the Lord of light. Some of their brothers have already been cast down and imprisoned in the deep darkness of the 2nd heaven. 3 of them once came down to earth from God's throne to a place called Mount Hermon. There they broke their sacred vows. They saw human women, desired them, and took them as wives. Through their rebellion they brought corruption to the earth, unleashing lawlessness and chaos. From them came the giants, men of great size, filled with violence and rebellion. Because of this, God judged them with a terrible punishment. Now the Grigori mourn for their fallen brothers who will face judgment on the Lord's great and final day." Moved with compassion, Enoch said to the Grigori, "I have seen your brothers and the evil they committed, as well as the terrible suffering they now endure. I prayed for them, but the Lord has declared that they must remain beneath the earth until the end of heaven and earth." Then Enoch asked, "Why do you stay silent and refuse to serve before the Lord's face? Why not return to worship so you don't anger him even more?" The Grigori listened to his words and passed them on to the 4 heavenly ranks. As Enoch stood there with the 2 angels, 4 great trumpets sounded together, their voices ringing through the heavens. At once, the Grigori began to sing as one. Their voices rose up in sorrowful harmony to the Lord, songs filled with grief and longing, and it was a deeply moving sound. Next, Enoch was brought up to the 6th heaven. There he saw 7 groups of radiant angels, so bright they outshone the sun. Each one looked the same in face, clothing, and conduct, moving in perfect unity. These angels were responsible for setting the order of the universe. They studied the movements of the stars, the changing phases of the moon, the path of the sun, and how the world should be rightly governed. When they saw evil, they responded by giving commands and teachings to set things right. They also lifted their voices in loud, beautiful songs of praise. These were no ordinary angels. They were archangels, higher than all the rest. Some of them measured time, keeping watch over the seasons and the years. Others were set over the rivers and the seas, while some watched over the crops and plants, ensuring food for every living creature. Still others recorded the souls of people, their deeds, their choices, and their lives before God. Among them were 6 phoenixes, 6 cherubim, and 6 six-winged beings. They sang together with one voice, a song so beautiful that no words could describe it. In joy and harmony they worshipped before the Lord, gathered around his footstool. Soon after, Enoch was lifted up to the 7th heaven. There he was met with a blinding brilliance and vast armies of powerful beings, mighty archangels, spiritual forces, and heavenly rulers. He saw cherubim, seraphim, thrones, and beings covered with eyes. 9 ranks of angelic orders stood in radiant stations of light. The sight filled him with awe, and he began to tremble, but the angels gently comforted him and led him forward. "Be strong, Enoch. Do not be afraid," they said, and they pointed ahead to where the Lord sat, far off on his throne, high above all else. In that moment, Enoch thought, why speak of a 10th heaven, if the Lord himself is here? Indeed, the 10th heaven, called Aravat in Hebrew, is where God dwells. All the heavenly hosts approached the Lord, standing before him on 10 steps, each according to their rank. They bowed low before his glory, then returned to their places with joy and gladness. In the never-ending light, they sang with gentle and beautiful voices, worshiping and serving God in all his splendor. Around the Lord's throne stood the cherubim and seraphim, along with many-eyed, 6-winged angels. They never left his presence. Day and night they served him faithfully, covering his throne and softly singing, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord, ruler of hosts. Heaven and earth are full of your glory." After Enoch had witnessed all these wonders, the angels who guided him said, "Enoch, this is as far as we are permitted to go with you." Then, without warning, they disappeared, and he could no longer see them. Left alone at the edge of the 7th heaven, fear gripped Enoch. He fell on his face and cried out, "Woe is me! What is happening to me?" But the Lord, in his mercy, sent one of his glorious ones, the archangel Gabriel. Gabriel came to Enoch and said, "Take courage, Enoch. Do not be afraid. Stand before the face of the Lord for all eternity. Come with me." Trembling, Enoch replied, "My Lord, fear has overwhelmed me. My soul has left me. I looked for the men who brought me here, the ones I trusted to guide me, but they are gone." Then Gabriel lifted Enoch like a leaf carried by the wind and brought him before the face of the Lord. There Enoch saw the 8th heaven, known in Hebrew as Mazaloth. This realm governs the seasons, the droughts, the rains, and the 12 signs of the zodiac. It lies above the 7th heaven. Then Enoch looked further still and saw the 9th heaven, called Kuchavim in Hebrew. It is there that the heavenly homes of the 12 signs of the zodiac are set. In the 10th heaven, called Aravoth, the archangel Michael led Enoch before the face of the Lord. What he saw was beyond imagination, something like glowing iron, fresh from the fire, blazing and sparkling with holy light. Enoch looked upon the face of the Lord, and it was beyond words, wondrous, awe-inspiring, and terrifying in its glory. He thought, "Who am I to describe the indescribable?" The beauty of the Lord's face was beyond comprehension. The Lord's throne was vast and not made by human hands. Around it stood countless cherubim and seraphim, singing without end. His glory never changed, and his majesty was far beyond imagining. Overwhelmed, Enoch fell flat on his face in fear and worship. Then the Lord spoke to him with his lips. "Have courage, Enoch. Do not be afraid. Stand before my face for all eternity." Michael, the great archangel, lifted Enoch up and led him to stand before the Lord himself. Then the Lord turned to his glorious servants and, as if testing them, said, "Let Enoch stand before my face forever." And they all bowed in agreement, answering, "Let Enoch do as you have said." The Lord then spoke to Michael, "Take away Enoch's earthly garments, anoint him with my holy oil, and clothe him in robes of my glory." Michael obeyed. He anointed Enoch, and the oil shone brighter than any light. It was like a gentle dew, sweet-smelling and radiant like sunlight. When Enoch looked at himself, he saw that he now appeared like one of the glorious angels. In this video, we explored the 10 heavens as told in the second book of Enoch. To fully experience the book the way it was meant to be heard, including all the visions, judgments, and mysteries we didn't have time to cover, click here next.